Hi everybody. Up till now we've been working on our lesson for our monotub. I'm going to just take a minute and address a couple of things. If Pablo comes in the middle of this, I'm just going to just roll with it because this is just kind of off the top of my head as we go along. I want to say first of all, I want to thank you all for the patience that you had during the Super Bowl. It was beautiful. You stayed out of the fight. You stayed out of the argument. You let me handle my shit. And I really appreciate that. From time to time, we're going to have party crashers. People are going to show up unannounced. It's going to happen. And we're okay with that because it shows us that we're doing a good work. There are 8 women and 2 men involved so far in this project. And for all I know, it could grow even bigger beyond us. So, but for the 10 of us, for the 11 of us actually, who are getting started with this, and I guess it actually is 12 because there's another man. So there's a perfect dozen of us who are going to be growing together. So those are some of the mushroom notes and the mushroom secrets I wanted to share with you is that there are 3 dudes and there are 9 queens who are going to be fruiting some cakes. Let's take a couple of minutes and introduce you to the cakes. So this is one of my cakes. I'm actually keeping this particular sample. This has a lid on it that I really like a lot. I've drilled some holes in it, again with the burning method. I'm very much into burning everything. So you'll see that this cake is almost completely colonized. Here on the bottom there is just a little bit, and I make my cakes a little different because birthing can be a difficult process, so I want my cake a little bit loose. So you'll see that it's a little bit loose. I'm not so much worried about introducing fresh contaminants at this point in time. Like I said, I keep my kitchen very clean. I'm always sterilizing everything. I'm clean. My practices are clean. But at the same point, this is also a fully colonized cake. Let's show you one that isn't clean though. And then I'm also going to show you a cake that's not fully colonized. So this fellow had an introduction at some point in time. Something made its way, and you'll see here I even have like a gray cast there. You can really see the difference in the colors. So, and it really does show you, you can see the difference. So I wanted to keep him and colonize him as soon as I saw that I had a problem. I knew we were doing a lesson, so I purposefully kept my dirty sample. The rest have been thrown away. And that's the other thing. If you have a dirty sample and you recognize that it's dirty, if you're not going to continue to grow a complete dirty specimen and, you know, completely contaminate all your stuff, get rid of it immediately. You know, throw it away. Don't introduce it into your kitchen or your clean space. Don't open it in your clean space. Get out of your house. Get out of your clean space. Things like that. Because spores, you're going to learn about spores. Spores spread. So, and then this dude's still a little vulnerable. You'll see he's even got like a system that if somebody wanted to come up and contaminate, you know, he's still vulnerable. But he's my second. One of the practices that I do is if I want to test dirtiness on something that maybe eats something different, is I'll inject it even to something that it won't colonize, just to test for cleanliness. So I will, like a BRF, there's certain strains that won't colonize in here, and I still use these cakes for the purpose of testing. So, and then once I realize I have a clean sample, then I inject a secondary strain into it. And that's what this is. This is a double inject. And it's also a test sample for a core system that I've been developing for faster colonization. Because, you know, everybody's going fast, fast, fast. So I do have them flipped. Once they have fully given me a clear ring around and they look like they're, you know, going up straight, then I go ahead and I flip my sample until they're ready to birth. Neither of these are ready to birth. This is close. So I have to, you know, get going on my fruiting chamber. So my fogger will be here soon and I'll get to do that. And I wanted to introduce you to the new jars and the cake. They're still in sterile mode, so I'm not going to handle it too much and fiddle with it too much. But this is made with oak, predominantly oak. There is some vermiculite in this one. I did a layering where I did a cake in the bottom, pure oak, a cake, pure oak, a little bit more, just a wee bit more cake, and then I did some vermiculite at the top to act as my barrier against contamination. I haven't put it away yet. I'm not done. I have 9 more jars that I'm going to get going with. There's new lids. I want to show you the lids. Ball. Target. No, I said ball, not Paul, but very good, honey. He answered so fast. Gets points for that. 6 come in a package. I think they were about $5, so it was really worth it. And I was able to get enough for all of these. And it's nice because if you're trying to bang holes in metal, what eventually happens is if you try to reuse your lids a second time, third time, rust forms. And I don't know if you know anything about rust, but rust is alive and rust grows and rust contaminates really, really bad. So I don't like using the metal, and I'm not a fan of plastic, but this I can burn holes in. So, and that's what I do is I use my inoculation needles and I take this lid and I burn holes in it. And then that's how I inject, and it gives such a tiny hole. And if you're careful, if you're clean, if you don't handle, don't poop and handle your samples. Poop, wash your hands in the bathroom, leave the bathroom, wash your hands in the kitchen sink, then you can handle your samples. So think clean thoughts. Bleach sprays are helpful. I keep food grade sanitizer on hand. I'm constantly switching up the types of different cleansing methods I'm using. Bacteria are smart. They can adjust. Don't give them a clean environment to adjust in, and you'll be fine. Vinegar also is a good thing for killing things. Any kind of acid, really. Now, when you get to your final sanitation phase, and when we get into that, when we're going to birth our cakes and get ready to birth our cakes, we're not going to do anything crazy, but I definitely want you to have an alcohol spray on hand for sure. Get yourself a thing of hand sanitizer, or make yourself a little thing like I did, an alcohol shaker. I put grain alcohol in mine so it's stronger than isopropyl, but also isopropyl is a good agent for making sure that your hands are contaminant free. That's the most important part. So we're going to have some fun with this. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited about my fogger. I also found a really good source of perlite in horticultural grade from Walmart in quantity if you're looking for 4 cubic feet, if you're going to do large batch, large scale. And think about your lighting sources. I'm going to be upgrading the lighting from what I had before to what I'm going to use now. And I had a good friend of mine show me her setup locally, and it was impressive. I was pleased with her setup and thought, this is going to be good for the mushrooms. So when we get to that point, I'll show you what I did and where we're going and how it's going to work. But it's basically strip lighting is all it is one single strip of lights, because the mushrooms don't need a lot, but they do need some. You just don't want direct light. The indirect light is always best, but if you're going to be doing it in a grow space that's going to be closed and possibly not exposed to any filtered natural light, you want to incorporate some sort of a light unit. So everything that makes light over will be good enough. So you don't even have to think big lights. It just has to be a light. I saw a plant once grow on a little light this big. I saw this giant plant that was just going mad because the whole plant doesn't need to have light. Every leaf doesn't need to have sunlight, but the leaves that are getting light need to get a steady enough supply to support the ones that are not making the light. So, and with this whole thing needs to see light in order to make some beautiful fruit. So we're gonna get ready to give birth. That's our next step. We've got our grow space that's already clean, and we've got to figure out what our lighting is going to be next. I look forward to putting it all together and starting to get this thing going. We'll see you guys on the flip side.